Good afternoon. So how's everybody? Good? You don't sound very enthusiastic. How's everybody? Let me ask again. Come on. We are all alive and breathing. Isn't it wonderful? Yes. Well, Peter mentioned that I grew up in the Bay Area. Actually, yes, I did. My mother took me to immigrate from Taiwan to the Bay Area when I was 9 years old. Actually, I grew up in that very little town across the bay called El Cerrito. I don't know if anybody know El Cerrito? You do, right? Okay. So I went to El Cerrito High School. Then to, as Peter mentioned, Berkeley. But before I start, one thing that I sort of treasure about standing up in the podium is to look at people. And I always take a very good look at people. My eyesight is still working, pretty good. There's all these beautiful people in the Bay Area. It's beautiful women and handsome men. So it's right now. I think it's proper. You turn to your neighbor and say that you're a beautiful person. Turn to your neighbor and say you're a beautiful person. Come on. Okay, so today is, I'm very fortunate and blessed to be asked and invited to come and give my testimony. And thank you for coming. So this is a testimony. So it's my story, my part of my life's experience. Okay, so I'll start here. Okay, back in 2005, my family and I, we lived in New Jersey. I was complaining to my wife that my face was numb, and I had a swollen neck, and then I couldn't breathe very well. So my wife took me to a doctor, family doctor. Said, I think Walter has an infection. Gave me some antibiotics. After a week or so, it didn't go away. So it took me to another doctor. You have sinusitis or something, another infection, another round of antibiotics. It still didn't go away. And many months passed, went to see ENT doctor. Another round of antibiotics, didn't go away. And then the last doctor that before I was done a biopsy, the doctor said to my wife, your husband has mono. Well, what is that? That's a kissing disease, right? My wife turned to me and said, who have you been kissing? Chinese 说好冤枉了 But actually, the doctor recommended me because of the lump on my neck to go do a biopsy. So that was Halloween. I remember very clearly, October 31st. Did a biopsy. 10 days later, we found out that I had 4-stage NPC, nasal cancer. It's called nasopharyngeal carcinoma. Why 4-stage? Because, as I said earlier, I was misdiagnosed 4 times. So it delayed about 8 months. So actually, the cancer cell spread to the skull base. So it's labeled as 4-stage. Because that time, we didn't know what 1, 2, 3, 4 stages meant. For 4-stage meant the end stage, your last stage. And so my wife asked, okay, 4-stage meaning what? And he said, well, last stage means that if your husband don't get immediate treatment, he has no more than 1 year life. And the last stage also means 80% of the patients do not survive for more than 5 years. So the chances, the odds are very, very low. I was devastated. My wife was devastated. But my wife did tell the doctor, well, Walter can make that statistic go up. Why do you have to listen to statistics? She was trying to encourage me. So that day when the afternoon, I told my wife, I have 3 kids, and I told my wife, I want to go tell my kids that I have cancer. So we went to pick them up. My oldest at that time was 10 years old. And he's Walter Jr., right? Junior says, we said to Walter that, I'm sorry, Walter, I have to tell you Dad has cancer. Okay, didn't tell him what stage. Immediately he asked, what stage? Wow, 10 years old, knows about 1, 2, 3, 4 stage of cancer better than me and my wife. But he's turned to be 10 again. And the next question he asked was, is it contagious? You see, he doesn't want to get it. It was so cute. But so later on at home, I have cancer. What are you going to do? Seek medical treatment, right? So my wife goes back home, picks up the phone, and I think she was on the phone for 5 or 6 hours. So she lined up 4 hospitals for me. One, we're living in Jersey, right? Sloan Kettering, premier cancer institution. 2, of course, our Taiwan hospital. Right? We have the biggest hospital healthcare institution in Taiwan, named after my grandfather, called Changgen Memorial Hospital, Changgen Yuan. 3rd was a hospital that we have an endowed chair at Cedars-Sinai in LA. They're all ready to treat me, right? The 4th one was the Singaporean hospital in Singapore, but my older sister has a friend that's an oncologist there. So 4 hospitals. Which one do we go to? My wife if you met Shirley, right? She's not only a loving wife, she's very caring and capable. So when she runs into situations, she would, like really situation of cancer, she would call everybody she knows, ask for advice, ask for better doctors, what are the better care, what are the medications. She even called up, I don't know if you know, Dr. David Ho, right, Time Magazine Man of the Year, right, developed the cocktail treatment for AIDS. She even called him up and woke him up in China. He was in China, in Yunnan, taking care of a lot of cancer victims. David, get up! Walter has cancer. What am I going to do? I was like, oh, my goodness. But anyways, so all these hospitals, what would you do? Select one, right? So we found this doctor, Dr. Jen Shaw, in Sloan Kettering. We Googled him, and his resume and his awards are like at least 3 or 4 pages long. Very well-renowned doctor. And so obviously you go see him first, right? He's right in the backyard, New York City. So before we decided to go see him, as a Christian, I grew up in a Christian family. I'm a 3rd-generation Christian. My grandfather is the 1st-generation Christian. Just Wang is 1st-generation Christian. And many people didn't know this, so I'll tell you, especially you're from Taiwan or from China. My father is a Christian. Just he doesn't say he is. But I think he has read the Bible about at least 4 or 5 times. So he always says he knows the Bible better than anybody. And so that night, what can you do? As a Christian, as a believer or a non-believer, what do you do? Most people would fret and you'll be angry and you would be, disappointing. It's the end of the road. Life is ending. What is the future here? Is there hope? No, naturally, as a Christian, grew up in a Christian family, you pray. So after hours of praying, we stood up, and at that time was, I think, I remember correctly, it was about 10:30 at night. I walked into my daughter's bedroom. She was already asleep, 10:30. Next day there's school. She's sleeping. I climbed into her bed. I looked at my precious little girl, and I said to her, Chantal, Daddy is really sorry. I may not be able to see you grow up and walk you down the aisle. And that was my first drop of tear. Okay? That was my first drop of tear after finding out I had cancer. And then afterwards, I went downstairs, and my wife said, well, let's kneel down and pray some more. What are we going to do? So we knelt down and prayed some more, and somehow a peace came over us. Next day, we went to see Dr. Jen Shaw. And after the PET scan, CT scan, he looked at my film. He goes, yeah, you need to get treatment right away. And we asked Dr. Shaw, said, where should we go? And he goes, yeah, I know your hospital, Changge. I lectured there twice. Went to Taiwan, lectured there twice. It's a great health institution. But since you live in New Jersey, Sloan Kettering is your backyard. You need a support system. You should stay here. And I'm a great doctor. I have a great staff. Great radiologists, great people, great nurses. Stay here. You need the support. Your kids, your family, your friends, stay home. Don't go so far away. But somehow, God works in mysterious ways. He's speaking to us. And someone said, we felt we should go to Hong Kong. Out of all places, Hong Kong. But why Hong Kong? I have no home there. Yeah, we have two good friends. My wife has a college friend there, and I have one there, Vincent and Miranda. But somehow we pray, and God says, Hong Kong. And later on, we found out that my wife has a friend that's a father, actually, is a doctor at a hospital in Hong Kong called Queen Mary Hospital. He actually developed the first protocol on how to treat NPC. So it made more sense. Not only hear from God, there's such a doctor that first developed this protocol to treat NPC, and we find out statistically there were about 2,500 cases a year in Hong Kong, NPC. United States, however, only 300. So it's kind of a rare cancer, United States. South of China, about 7,000 cases a year. Taiwan, about 2,000 cases a year. So my wife picks up the phone, calls my good friend Vincent. Vincent, we're coming over, okay? I want you to, when you get off work, okay, I want you to come see Walter and cheer him up every day. like he is your wife, okay? Come cheer him every day. Now, Vincent is a very passionate man, and he said, no problem. I'll come and cheer Walter up every day. Don't worry about it. I'll pray for him too. Very devout Christian as well. So we flew to Hong Kong, and then actually, when we got there, we met Vincent, and Vincent said, I got to tell you a story. I said, what story do you have? And I was telling my wife a story. He goes, yesterday, you remember Richard, our friend from Malaysia, KL? Yeah. Well, yeah, he's here now too. He's in Shangri-La Hotel. And yesterday when he came, we had lunch together. And Vincent tells Richard, do you know that Walter has cancer, 4th stage 2? He goes, yeah, I heard from Shirley. Okay, now, as Christians, both of us really need to pray for them. Pray for healing. Pray for recovery. And then, of course, right? After they finish lunch, they walk out of the restaurant, and then all of a sudden, Vincent says that he saw this, I think, a European lady, very frantic, rushing around, looking around, like she was very lost. Vincent automatically walks up to her and says, ma'am, are you okay? May I help you? And she said, yes, I'm so lost. I have this appointment. I'm so late. I don't know how to get there. Nobody will help me. And Vincent goes, don't worry, I'll help you. I know Hong Kong. I live here for 20 years. I know where almost everything is. And she goes, I said, don't worry. Give me your cell phone. Give me the number of people you are meeting, and then I'll call them for you. Tell them in Cantonese that, she's late, the appointment, blah, 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 blah. And after we heard this, right, Shirley goes, Vincent, I'm not surprised you go help a lady. You see, Vincent is a major playboy. Okay? I grew up with him at Berkeley, I know, right? He has girlfriends all over the world. He's a charmer. And Shirley says, she's a girl, of course you do that. See, you do that. And he really knows how to convince girls to be his date. And Vincent goes to Shirley, tells Shirley, Shirley, you don't know me very well. If this European lady was any younger, I will personally walk her to the appointment. If she was pretty and young, I will not only walk her, I will hold her hand and walk to the appointment. So they go on their separate ways, separate taxis. And then Vincent's cell phone rings. Say, it's Richard. Why is he calling me so soon? We just, departed from each other not long ago. Richard calls up Vincent, right? And Richard goes, Vincent, I want to have what you have. What do you mean? You see, Richard is really opposite of Vincent. Richard is a single man, and he travels all over the world. And if he's very busy, okay, he trades his own stocks, invests his own fund, and he doesn't have time for people. Not much time. All right? If he sees you, you see a friend, he'll have one meal with you, and that's it. He's gone. And he does sort of, it's okay, I say this all over the world, so it's okay. He's not a very passionate person. He doesn't like to help people. What do you call that, selfish? Yeah, a little bit selfish. So that's always teasing. Richard, I think in your forehead, it says, your problem, not mine, leave me alone. Very selfish, Because I want to have what you have, Vincent. Because you're so wealthy, you have so many big, rich friends, what else can I give you? I want to have that kind of compassion you have. You can stop in the middle of the street, help a stranger out. I want to have that kind of compassion. And Vincent tells Richard, well, you're going back to the hotel, right? And you're going to pray for Walter and Shirley, right? Yes. Well, ask God for compassion. Pray to God and ask Him, God, give me some compassion. And if you are faithful, you will receive. As a devout Christian Richard is, he goes, okay, I'll do that. So he goes back, he prays. Richard is a prayer warrior. A selfish guy, but a prayer warrior, okay? He prays, right? After 2 hours later, that's what he told us. All of a sudden, Richard says to us, when I was praying afterwards, I heard this voice. And he believed it was God talking to him. He claims, okay? So he said to us that, what did God say to you? God says, Richard, I don't want you to just pray for Walter and Shirley. I want you to be with them. Then he says, no. God, you created me, you know me well. I have a flight to catch tomorrow to Vancouver. He's going to Whistler to ski for 2 months. So he already made all the friends there. He's going to ski for 2 months, He rented his house. He's all ready to go. God, you got the wrong person, not me. Are you kidding me? Being with them, cancer treatment? No. I'll just pray for them. And when I go to Whistler, I'll still pray for them. No difference. I can pray to you anywhere I go. So he said, no, God, got the wrong guy. And he stopped praying back again. And he claims he said this exactly the same voice again. And this time it's more stern, he claims. He said, Richard, won't you do this for me? Then he said, okay, wait a minute. If you are God, the Almighty, the more powerful, all-powerful, if I don't do this, when I go out the street, I may get run over by a bus. Or I may get hit by lightning or something, right? Disobey God. I hear God so clearly, and I disobey Him. So guess what? Richard stayed with us for 5 months. He lived in a hotel for 5 months. And every morning, he would come. We rented a small apartment by Queen Mary Hospital. He would come every morning. So backtrack a little bit. So we flew to Hong Kong on a Saturday. We went to see the ENT doctor. And the ENT doctor says, oh, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Wang, do you have an appointment with the oncologist? He goes, yeah. But the oncologist is extremely busy. We don't have an appointment until 4 days later. He goes, oh, it's okay. You know, oncologist, that Jonathan Shame, his actually office is right downstairs. I think his office hours is right now. I'll call him up. If he's here, I'll ask him to come up, take a look at your film. And then so he was there. He came up, and very quickly, and he looked at my PET scan and CT scan. And he says, Mr. Wang, Mrs. Wang, I want you to go and have lunch. I want you to check into the hospital at 1:30. So we did that. All right, we went to have lunch, packed our bags, and then went into Queen Henry Hospital. They got a tiny little private room for us. We went and checked it. And not long later, I saw 3 doctors came in and a few nurses, right? And they came in with this IV, it's an IV bag, about this big. It's black. It's not a clear, one of those transparent bags. It's black. And the needle is really long. You just stick that into me, yeah, you need this thing. And you stick to me. Later on, I now found out that's chemotherapy. I didn't know it was chemotherapy until they stick it in and say, too bad, you're chemotherapy, right? and then so how long is the chemotherapy, doctor? Well, we're going to treat you. You're going to have chemotherapy. The first round, 96 hours, continuous chemo. This is almost 15 years ago. The medication today is so much more advanced than yesterday. So chemo after chemo, back after back, 4 days. I was devastated. I couldn't move. I couldn't even sit up. I was devastated. I was like, oh my God, Lord help me. I was so devastated. And then Richard would come every morning at 8:30. He's very on time. He never 1 second late. He comes at 8:30, but people beat him to it. I was very blessed because, I have visitors almost every day, every hour. We're very loved. And so people flew all over the world. I didn't even know I have so many friends, they all showed up, and they came, and all our relatives came. So poor Richard, right? He wanted to come and pray for me. But he couldn't, because all these people coming in and out, doctors, nurses. He couldn't pray. So every night he would tuck me to bed and pray at 9 p.m., and he would leave. So 4 days gone, and 4.5 days, and then we went back to the apartment. I could barely sit up, okay? And I thank my sister Cher and my wife, very diligent, found an apartment right nearby the hospital. We were there, and they hired a cook to cook for us. But I told them, I cannot smell any food. I'm so nauseous. If I smell food, I'm going to faint. I couldn't get up. I couldn't sit up. I was so weak. After 96 hours of chemo, I was so weak. I really feel like one of my legs is in the grave already. I feel like I'm dying. I have no energy. I'm just like I just lied there. I couldn't move. And Richard came and said, Walter, you don't have to move. Just breathe. I'll pray for you. Okay? So he sits there. He prays and he prays. Oh my God, what a prayer warrior. A selfish guy, again, a prayer warrior, right? He just prays and prays and prays and prays. He can pray 4 hours, 5 hours at a time. Wow, right? What is he praying? I don't understand. really almost like 10 days of praying. I said, where's God? It's not working, Richard. I don't feel any better, okay? I don't feel any better at all. What is this? And he goes, Walter, you're a Christian, right? You have to believe, have faith. I do believe. But okay, I was a Christian, I'm a Christian. I grew up as a Christian family, but I was really a Sunday Christian. I go to Bible study sometimes. I go to youth group every week because my mother made me go. Okay, I was a Christian. I even did for we went to a Taiwanese church it was in Hayward, and they moved to Oakland. It was a Taiwanese church, but that time a lot of second, third generation kids, they grew up in the United States. They don't speak English. Chinese. They don't speak Chinese or Taiwanese especially. So I used to translate actually for the pastor every week. Because I bilingual, right? But I was a Sunday Christian. After 10 days of praying, she goes, oh my God, it's not working. Lord, it's not working. Then one day he asked me, he goes, Walter, you know what? There's a really important thing about healing. Mr. Tay, Richard Tay, right? Don't you think we should know that by now? You should tell us, right? What is the key thing to healing, right? He goes, Walter, one of the key things to healing when I'm praying, I feel this in my spirit, is that forgiveness. I said, what do you mean forgiveness? He goes, Walter, be honest with me. Are there anybody, when you grew up in your childhood or to today, you just cannot forgive? And I said, Richard, I'm not a liar. I'll be honest. I don't have a whole long list. Okay? But I have 3 people I just cannot forgive. I just cannot. He goes, Walter, if you want healing, receive God's power of healing, you must forgive these 3 people. I said, okay, how do I do that? When you're facing death, you forgive, right? What choices do you have? You want to take the grudge to your grave? No. You want healing, right? So he goes, how do you do that? Richard goes, it's very simple. You write the name down on a piece of paper. You forgive. You rip the paper out and say, in the name of Jesus, you forgive. He goes, Walter, if you cannot forgive, all right, you harbor that grudge in your heart. No matter where you go, you carry it with you. Okay? You go to Timbuktu, that forgiveness, that grudge goes to Timbuktu. Right? You go to anywhere in the world, any corner of the world, that you take that grudge with you. You take the unforgiveness with you. Then you will not be healed. You will not receive healing. I said, okay, Richard, for my health purposes, for my healing, I forgive. And when you forgive once, he goes, don't let anybody lie to you that you need to do it twice. Because if you sincerely forgive, you take that debt away yourself. You pay down that debt yourself. You don't need an apology. You don't need some people begging you for forgiveness. You don't need people to return your money or whatever. You just take the debt down yourself. And it's gone. So I say, forgiveness, healing, okay, right? And Richard goes, another thing I'm going to show you. You're been Christian since young. The Bible wrote a lot about praying in tongues. Do you want to try that? I said, whatever. What is that? Praying in tongues doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make sense. It's a bunch of gibberish. Richard goes, don't worry. I will lead you to pray in tongues. Another 10 days goes by. It doesn't work. That makes sense. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. Praying in tongues. What's that? Praying in the Spirit? If you read the Bible, a lot of places speak about praying in tongues. But it just doesn't come out. It doesn't make any sense. But after the forgiveness, my mouth opened and prayed in tongues. After the forgiveness. So Richard was there leading me to pray in tongues, praying in tongues. And then Shirley, my wife, was there. Oh my God, it's like praying in tongues. And then all of a sudden, when I was beginning to pray in tongues, all of a sudden I felt this energy I felt it injected into my head, all the way to my belly. Then I began, we were in a little small bedroom, Richard and I and Shirley were there praying, and I began to have uncontrollable laughter, wild laughter. I was laughing, I was jumping up and down, I was rolling on the bed, and I was really, really frantic laughter. And then Richard goes, wow, what's guy possessed, man? Laughing. And then actually, later on, he told me he was telling me on the side, he goes, God, I want to have what he has. Wow, such a joy. So after the laughter, guess what? I felt light as a feather. I felt that there's a lot of things stored up in here that I need to release. Has been released. It's gone. Right? So the next round of chemotherapy, another 96 hours. Okay, so this time, same medications. This time Shirley goes, I'm ready. She's got the pillow ready, the toaster oven, hot water bottle, everything ready, going to the hospital. Another 96 hours, I'm not looking forward to this, right? But this time a little bit different, or a lot different, I should say. After like a day or so, right, 24 hours or so, I told Shirley, I'm hungry, right? And Shirley goes, oh, you're hungry? That's a good sign. Usually people in the chemo treatment for so long, you can't be hungry. Are you hungry? But what would you like to have? Anything. I say, I've been away from the States for a while. I would like to have some pizza. She goes, pizza? Okay, fine. So Hong Kong, obviously, very convenient. They have these little scooters, deliver pizza. So we ordered, I think, 4 or 5 different flavors of pizza, and they deliver, and we were eating it. Right? And the doctor came and goes, Mr. Wang, what are you doing? Because eating pizza, would you like to have a piece? He goes, wow, you can digest cheese? Yeah, I already ate 2 pieces. So I was eating pizza, having a party in my hospital bedroom. Next morning, I was so bored out of my mind. I went downstairs with chemo, pushing the chemo in the hand, and walking downstairs, looking at all the help wanted signs, the bulletin, and there's a 7-Eleven downstairs of Queen Mary Hospital. Okay, and went to like 7-Eleven, buying ice cream, eating ice cream, and then there was quite a lot of doctors and nurses walked by. They were looking at me. This guy's must be nuts because they all know that's chemo in hand, and this guy's walking around. Anyways, so we were help on the side. We're looking all over the hospital, and the doctor said, "Which patient is?" The doctor couldn't find me and tried to find me. Which patient is not in the hospital bed? Right, chemo patient. They found the nurses found me in one of the hallways looking at the bulletin, and then they said to me, Mr. Wang, your last testing result came out. It was so good that the brain, the tumor that spread to the brain skull base, all resided, no more. Only the tumor left here. So instead of your next treatment, it's radiation, right? Radiation. So radiation, we were planning to shoot through here too, but only isolated to here. I said, thank God. Originally, right, radiation is going to my head, right? I said, God, thank you, Lord, because, Walter, your son, I'm not so smart anyway, so if you shoot more radiation, destroy more of my brain cell, I become stupider. That's not right? So I didn't have to go through that. So instead of 43 or 44 minutes of radiation, actually went down to 37 minutes. So I think it reduced about 5 minutes to this portion. And the doctors tells us that, Mr. Wang, you didn't have many side effects through chemo because I didn't lose any hair through, 8 days of chemo. I didn't lose any hair at all. And during the period of chemotherapy and radiation, not only not lose any hair, I was slow jogging about 2 miles a day through that process, right? So it was kind of fun. And we went through a lot of restaurants. I could be Zach at Hong Kong because even though I couldn't eat, I like to see my friends, my wife eat. So, if you want to go to Hong Kong, ask me restaurants. So we were doing that, and the doctor said, well, you're going to have side effects, for sure. Radiation, you're going to have side effects. And the most dangerous thing about cancer patient going through so much chemo and radiation is that you don't have enough nutrition in your body to sustain your treatment, right? So the doctor said, well, we're going to have to do a little microsurgery here or here, and then you carry we're going to pump some nutrition into your body as you go through radiation, right? And you have to carry that one with you for like 6 weeks. And I looked at the doctors, I said, no, I'm not doing that. I have surgery, I have to carry this bag with me, I said, no, I don't want to do that. And so my wife and Richard was like devastated. They goes, oh, Walter, don't want to do that. What are we going to do? I insist, I don't want to do that. I'm stubborn, okay, I don't want to do it. And then Richard goes, tells Shirley, you know what, Shirley? Maybe God already healed Walter. He doesn't have to go through radiation, right? He doesn't have to go through radiation. The doctor says he has to go through radiation, but no, maybe God already healed Walter. And my wife's reaction is this: shut up, Richard. Shut up. If God already healed Walter, tell the doctors that Walter doesn't have to go through radiation. And later on, I say, my wife just like to fry me. Okay, just want to fry me, right? But Richard says, no. Doctors ain't Christians. They cannot hear God, right? And then Shirley goes, well, the guys of the impossible, right? He can make a donkey talk. He can tell the doctors that he doesn't have to go through radiation. So my wife is just like, listen to the doctor. So I went through radiation. After a week of radiation, what's so awful about radiation, this part, is that, everybody's got cold sore before, right? So basically, you have cold sore all throughout your mouth, all down your throat, internally your throat. So you can't even drink water. For me to drink a little bit of water took me 2 hours. It's so painful. And my neck turned all black. It's like I got baked, in the oven or something, right? So after a week, I feel really bad. And I told my wife, take me to see a doctor, okay? Take me to see the doctor. I want some pain medication or whatever. And then I went to see a doctor, and the doctor goes, so I told you, Mr. Wang, you need to get nutrition, all right? And you're going to go through this pain. It's going to be worse and worse, okay? And you don't listen to me. Okay, let me examine you. So the doctor goes, okay, from the scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most painful, where are you? Being a macho guy I am, I said, 6 or 7. Actually, I feel like an 8 or 9, right? And the doctor goes, yeah, about right. 10 days later, 6 or 7, it's 2 hours scale, it's about right. Then open your mouth. And the doctor was looking into my mouth, looking down my throat. He goes, Mr. Wang, in our scale, you're a 1. I said, what? 1? It's so painful. But no, it's a 1. And then the doctor looked at me. He goes, Mr. Wang, so tell me, what regimen, what are you taking any Chinese medicine? Are you, do you have any family secret recipe or something that you're doing? I treated NPC for over 10 years. I haven't seen a case like this in my whole career. I said, doctor, actually, a lot of friends and relatives give me a lot of Chinese medicine. But there's so much medicine, I didn't eat a single one because I didn't know which one to eat because so many of them. So my wife put it in the closet and locked it away. So I didn't eat any Chinese medicine. My regimen, I was maybe jogging 2 miles, on a treadmill. The doctor goes, Mr. Wang, look, you have to tell me. Because whatever you're doing works. And you cannot be selfish. Even if it's a family secret recipe or whatever you're doing, you cannot be selfish. You got to I got to pass it to other patients. Pass it to other patients. Don't be selfish. Don't be selfish. Okay, I said, I really am not. What do you want me to say? Okay, come on, Mr. Wang. It's really working. I never seen 10 years plus. I never seen anything like this. Come on, tell me. And I said, doctor, you really want to know? I said, the only thing I do every day is praying. Pray. Power of prayer, I said to the doctors. And the doctor looked at me and goes, Mr. Wang, he got even more upset. And I goes, if you don't want to tell me, forget it. Don't give me power of prayer. Come on. Anything you can make up, don't make a pray. Come on, how can that be? He says, okay, if you don't want to tell me, fine. So backtrack a little bit. I think Peter mentioned this. I was working at the company JM for Formosa Plastic downstream for many years. And in, I think, 2003, my dad all of a sudden asked me, Walter, do you want to be your own boss? Oh, yeah. I don't want to listen to you, yeah. Right? Just kidding. But I'll sell these companies to you. Right? You do a leverage buyout. Be my own boss. So we actually he and his staff hired some bankers and did a valuation of the company. So this is, everybody knows of this story. So the valuation was about $300 million at that time, 2005, okay? And so I told my dad, I would love to take over this company. I'd love to be an owner, make my own decisions and everything. But where am I going to get the money? I was making about $70,000, $80,000 a year at that time. Okay, how am I going to get the money? Which bank is in their right mind, right, will loan me $300 million? I don't have collateral. I can't collateralize my house. The house, come on, that's nothing, right? So my dad goes, that's your problem. So over a year, I've been talking to all these banks, and everybody refused me. He said, "You crazy?" Everybody refused me, you know. But after almost 2 years, my father did step in to help. So my father actually signed a personal guarantee of $30 million, and he told me, "I give you a guarantee for you for $30 million, and I'll make one phone call to the Taiwanese banks." My dad's one phone call is worth more than $300 million, okay? And a $30 million guarantee, right? So I said, wow, I got the money, right? Dad, $300 million, I got it. Let's do all the legal paperwork and close. Oh, guess what? Peter said it, right? Earlier. My dad goes, no, I'm going to charge you 10% more, right? $330. I said, that is not fair, Dad. The banker said the best valuation possible is $300 million. That's already above industrial multiples. He goes, no. I said, why? Why your son, you're going to charge me 10% more? He goes, exactly, because you're my son. And that because the U.S. company actually is owned by Taiwanese Formosa Plus group, right, of companies, right? I have shareholders to answer to. So in order to sell you this company as you're my son, right, you have to pay more. I said, that's not fair. It's too bad. All right, you want it or not? Okay, so carry a little bit more burden. So I closed the company on October 31st, right? And 10 days later, I found out I had cancer. So when you become your own boss, you own the company, what do you want to do? You want to work harder, right? You want to be more productive, you want to be more efficient, right? At that time, we have 1,200 families to take care of, 1,200 employees. Those families, it is my responsibility now. It is my responsibility. If I have made a bad decision or a bad decision here and there, people lose their jobs. So what am I going to do? I need to go to Hong Kong for treatment. I can't physically be at the company. I said, oh my God. I said, my God, all right, you take over the company. You're the chairman now. Huh? God, I cannot manage the company. You take over. Well, guess who did a better job? God or me? It's a commodity business. Average net margins 3 to 5%, right? Yes, I'm very blessed to be able to, when I started there, it was $200-some million in sales, and at that time, before I bought it, was over $1 billion in sales, 2005. But it's still a very razor-thin margin business. But when I was in Hong Kong, and I know God's heart that God wants me to be close to Him. The Bible says, as you walk close to me, I walk close to you. So that sabbatical I had with God, I gave God the company to manage, to run. And guess who's a better manager, right? He is, right? So just within 5 months, right, we had enough profit to pay back half the loan. Yeah, it's a miracle, right? God didn't want me to worry. So we pay back half of the loan within 5 months. Praise the Lord. I didn't have to. Yes, I did have emails, faxes, and still speak to my managers, but I couldn't physically be there to operate the company. So I gave it to God. So, for years, I never changed my title to chairman. I never changed the title until recently. So after all this treatment, and the radiation and chemotherapy, and I feel better and better. So at the end of the treatment, Shirley and I went to see the doctor and to thank them. They really took really good care of me and the nurses. We thank the doctor, we really thank you. You put in so much effort and heart and love into treating us. Treating me. And you know what the doctor's reply was? Don't thank me. Thank you, God. So after the treatment, actually during the treatment, I remember correctly, is that, we were shooting the breeze. Shirley and I was asking me, hey, Walter, after all these treatment, everything, where would you like to live? Would you like to stay in New Jersey? Would you like to move to Taiwan? Would you like to go to LA? Where would you like to live? I say, I would really like to move back to California. We had a house in LA, so I said, I'd like to move to LA. Shirley goes, okay. After every treatment, that you're good, we move to LA, okay? No. I said, no. I said, life is short, right? If you can live wherever you live, you do it right away. I said, let's move, in a couple of months. Shirley goes, no. I just went through 5 months of treatment with you in Hong Kong, and you want to move, there's like 150 families in New Jersey, and then most of them will most likely come with us, and you're going to move their family, everybody to LA? I said, no. And I said, then how could I convince you? Shirley goes, I want a divine sign. I said, what is a divine sign? She goes, I know what it is. Education, right? We have 3 kids. Everybody applied for one private school. If all 3 get in, right? I said, that's a divine sign. Because it's so hard to get into these private schools, right? And every kid in a different grade. How do you get in? Some have to go into the 2nd grade, 3rd grade, and luckily, right, they all got in, got accepted. And I said, see, Shirley, that's a divine sign, right? And Shirley actually told me later, she was praying to God. She said, that ain't a divine sign. That is not a divine sign. Okay, she goes, God, thank you that we were blessed enough that 3 kids got into the school we want them to attend. But guess what? Every application is 8 pages. That's 24 pages for me, Lord. As a mother, right? I had to write 24 pages, okay? And I put in a lot of effort. That's not a divine sign. There's a lot of human intervention there. That's not a divine sign. So she asked God. When we left Hong Kong, I was 89% better. And she told God, If it's an upswing, I can deal with it. If 91%, 92%, I can deal with it. Walter's improving. And she goes to God, pray to God, I can heal cancer. I cannot make Walter exercise more, drink enough carrot juice more, or drink more carrot juice, fruit juice. I can heal cancer. There's no guarantees. But you can. And then lastly, she says, God, I love the cup overflows, if that's possible. So, the next treatment, went to Hong Kong. I was praying, oh my God, please, it's got to be 89% or better, right? And the Bible says very clearly, the cup overflows. And after the examination, the PET scan, the CT scan, all the scans, all this tests, I was 100% better. Incredible. 100% better. So we moved. Today, I have done a lot of testimonies, told a lot of my story all over the world. And today, well, Peter mentioned it, my mother-in-law passed, and this morning, my wife called and said, Walter, you need to do a good job today. Okay? You need to glorify God. You need to tell the people you see the truth. How wonderful it is to know God. All right? So due to time limitations, there's a lot of sharing I can exchange with you, share with you, but I'm going to narrow it down to 3, okay? But from this experience, the 3 things I received, okay? So, and this is with my wife's approval here, so okay. This is what Shirley always says, you know. And by the way, Shirley was not a Christian before the cancer experience. Okay, Shirley became a really faithful Christian after she's seen what God has done. Okay, so Shirley is a very devout Christian now. We have Bible studies in our home every Friday. So first thing is this, and I think you experience this as well. Life, every day in life, it is an ordinary miracle. You and I could breathe. You and I could enjoy your loved ones, your friends. Who says that the ocean can only come so far? The sun sets and the moon appears. Who set that in place? It is an ordinary miracle every day in our lives. Even through cancer experience, I never knew how saliva is so precious. Because after radiation, I lost 90% of saliva. And I said, wow, saliva is useful. I have no idea because I take it for granted. I have saliva. Everybody, all normal people have saliva, right? You produce enough saliva, right, to sustain a healthy living, right? So every day is really an ordinary miracle. Okay, please keep that in mind. 2, these day and age, right, we're all so busy. We're all so busy, right? This is Silicon Valley, right, right next door. Entrepreneurs striving to make it, right? I want to be the next Mark Zuckerberg or Steve Jobs or Bill Gates, right? A lot of entrepreneurs are very successful. Work so hard, drive so hard. But I recommend to have a separation of work and family. Work and your private time. I'm not against it. Well, kind of against it. Like, you know, in this huge companies, campuses. I'm just, it's a comment, all right? Subjective comment. They have laundry service, chefs to cook for you, right? They have many things, many perks. Basically, you are working all the time. You're there all the time. In Genesis, right? The beginning. What did God do? God created everything. At the end, human beings, right? 6 days, correct? What did God do the seventh day? He rested. So, do you think God gets tired? God doesn't get tired. But why did he rest? Why did he insist on Sabbath? You know why? Two things. Number one, God says in the Bible, he is satisfied with what he has created. He is satisfied. So therefore, when we go to work, 8 hours, 10 hours, then when we leave and we go home, are you satisfied with your work that you've done that day? Are you satisfied? Or do you carry your work's burden home, or your worries or your anxieties home with you? Don't do that. That's very unhealthy. A spouse, a husband, or a wife works so hard and they goes home and still answers phone calls from the work, so don't do work, all these things. And especially have kids, they know. Mommy and daddy don't give me enough time. They're always working. Oh, kids, I'm working on your behalf. Make sure you have a good education, put food on the table. Yes, that's all good. But is that healthy? No, I don't think it's healthy. We need to have a clear separation. When you leave work at work, when you go home, enjoy your family. Enjoy your loved ones. Give your time, your heart to your loved ones. You know, through this 14 years, as I walk through this journey of life, a lot of people I run into, or not a lot, but many, they have cancer. I've seen a lot of cases. And a lot of people say, well, you know, I had cancer, right? Because, you know what? It's in my genes. My dad had it. My grandma had it. My fourth cousin over there and that family has it. So it's in my genes. The likelihood of me getting cancer is high. Guess what? The cases I've seen, most cases are not that way. Most cases are, like I said, caused with what? Undue amount of pressure, anxiety, stress, and I mentioned earlier, unforgiveness, grudge, holding a grudge, unforgive, work. No release. It's like a black box. You stuff something in, it doesn't come out. So I really recommend that enjoy your life. Life is not about, okay, we come naked, we go naked, right? Can you carry your money with you? No. Life, the legacy that you leave, I don't think is about how much money you make, what kind of huge title you have, or how many influential friends you have, how many awards you receive. No, I don't think so. I hope you don't. It's about your legacy that you leave is about who you have loved and who loves you. That's the legacy you leave. That's why people do charity, I hope. It's out of love, not out of his own selfish ambitions. Okay. So third, journey of life we spoke about. We all have to walk through it. And guess what? Okay, cancer experience. In life, we run into difficulties sometimes, right? Challenges, storms. Now, raise your hand if you have a really smooth life and you have never faced any challenges, you're never upset, you just smooth sailing. Anybody? I hope nobody dares to raise their hand, because if you raise your hand, and say, wow, you're the most selfish person in the world if you raise your hand. We do have challenges. We will have pressure. We will have negative things that happen to us. Sometimes you don't even know, you can just say, I don't deserve it. But guess what? That's life. Life is many beautiful moments, but life, you will have challenges. You will have challenges. So it depends on how you want to face those challenges. You have God, you have peace, right? Shalom of Jesus means more than peace, yes, I know. But what's the opposite of peace? I think 2 words. One is anxiety, one is worries. If you have anxieties, if you have worries, you won't have peace. 2, the Bible says joy is a good medicine, right? Joy. What's the opposite of joy? Sadness, is it? No, I don't think so. I think the opposite of joy is hopelessness. When you have hope in Christ, hope in something good, you will always have joy in your heart. Because there's no room for hopelessness, because you have hope. When you have hope, therefore you have joy. So, peace, shalom of Jesus, and hope in God. Hope in God will never disappoint. There's always something good. Right? So I think I'm recommending that, especially for younger people or anybody. Experience that hope. Experience that joy. Experience that peace. It will help you walk through this journey of life. And God, and the I would like to say, God will also give you courage to face your problems. I mentioned many times this is a very famous quote by Winston Churchill. I mean, if you watch the movie The Darkest Hour, you will see this at the end. He says, success is not final. Failure is not fatal. To have the courage to continue is what counts. So God will give us the courage to continue, to walk through this journey we call life. Okay? So be happy every day. Be joyous every day. Face your problem with that attitude. Yes, you can solve a lot of problems with money, power, and fame. But when you run into problems that you cannot solve with money, what are you going to do? You have to face cancer. I had to face cancer. Walk through it. And I really recommend that be close to God. Have faith. Faith will carry you through. Thank you for listening. That's the end of my testimony. Thank you.